Hey guys, today I would like to do a video tutorial on how to create an Angular app with Bootstrap CSS um, very quickly. Um, with the Angular 7 version. So let's take a look at the steps. So I'm creating the app in the Visual Studio Code. So let's open Visual Studio, and we have to get the terminal first. Once we get into terminal, we can choose a folder where we need to um, get this app created. So let's go to so I would like to create the app in this folder, so I copying that and I'm navigating to that specific path I got over there, and now I can use ng new bootstrap app being my app name, and uh, press enter. As I press enter, you can see couple of things like Angular 7 specific features that it is giving a prompt. Would you like to add Angular routing? So I just would like to show you. I'm including these routing features, so I just take the routing, and I can also choose whether I should use CSS or a CSS as slash stylus, whatever it is. So for now I'm using going with CSS. I'm pressing enter. CSS. Now the app will get created. So in this app we will be focusing only on creating a brand new Angular app with integrating uh, Bootstrap CSS and font awesome and ng Bootstrap components. So there is a specific command that we can pretty easily add the Bootstrap support to the Angular application, and then I will take you through creating a module and creating components, and then wiring up the routing for this new module and its components, and then also will take a quick glance on that how to import or apply Bootstrap CSS to the HTMLs. That will be the um, main focus of this tutorial. Well, let's wait and see app getting created. So our app is now almost got created. Yep. So now all we need to see is open our application. So Angular Bootstrap app. So let's select that folder. We'll open that complete files belongs to that. Over here you can see pretty much this is the files belongs to our app. So we have app folder, asset folder, environment.ts files, and main style, and package.json, all that. So we are not now looking much into the solution files and all. Now let's see how the app default application looks like. ng-serve open. We will get the use the ng-serve open commands to get this application launched. Here you go. Like, this is our default um, page, which is having this emblem and some links to the Angular tutorial sites. So that's pretty much our application now. So let's enhance or customize this as we need. So I would like to include Bootstrap CSS for now and Bootstrap UI elements font awesome into this app. So for that, all we need to do is use the npm command npm install um, at ng bootstrap slash ng bootstrap bootstrap css and font awesome. Okay, so this command, what it will do is it will install the latest bootstrap libraries to this solution. So ng bootstrap elements, bootstrap css and font awesomes. Press enter, will get it updated into the solution. Now it got created, and also you can see the two files that got modified when we integrated the bootstrap to this angular application. Let's take a look at what is those changes are. So we will see the libraries referring to the uh, bootstrap css and components and font awesome. Here this is the file which will um, keep the references of, I mean, library references for this angular application. So that's it for that. And once we imported that css, we have to, I mean, integrated a reference to those css, we have to import those css to our solution. So for that we will do at import um, bootstrap slash dist slash css bootstrap dot css font awesome slash css slash font awesome dot css. So now we take again a look at our application. So I just keeping a copy of, I mean, screenshot of the already launched screen, and then we'll see after importing the bootstrap what change been or has happened to the solution. Now you can see the fonts got changed. The only major difference that you can notice over here is the font has got changed. So let's compare that once. The default one was different, and the one which after importing Bootstrap is also different. So now Bootstrap got referenced properly. So now what we can do is let's close this and go back to the code and stop running it, and then now what we need to add to the solution is a new module, and which we can add components that we need to be in that module. So why we have to add module is is a would be a question. So modules, I mean, will be good to create modules that we can keep related components or files on that module. That way we will give a clean separation or manageability to the solution as we develop more and more components or features to the application. So let's see how to create the module. So now the command I am using is ng generate module sales. So this will generate a module with named sales within the solution. So let's hit on enter and we'll see what happens. So the sales module got created, and you can go and expand app folder. We'll see a sales module here, and the sales module is not with created with the routing. So what I can do now is just delete this module folder and will create it again with routing. So you will also see how to create modules with routing. So initially when the module app was created, Angular was giving a prompt whether do we need a routing modules added or not. So we gave an option yes, choose option yes, and we got the app.routing.module.ts file added. So likewise, here when we create a new modules, also to have should have this routing on its own. That way, it can the routing within that module can be configured. So all we need to do is add the switch routing and press enter. Now let's go and take a look at that sales module. We'll see both of the file got added. So once we got the module added, we can create a couple of components as well to that module. So let's add ng generate component is a command, Angular ng command that we can use to create components. So what component to be created and where it needs to be created can also be specified here itself. Sales slash, I'll just create customer, um, just customer. I'm just creating a component, that's it. Sales slash customer. So we'll see how does it work. So now I got the customer component created, that too, that within the sales under sales. So that you have noticed when we add a new component under a specific module, we can specify the path and that get added and that right place. So now we got the customer component added. So here by default it says customer works. Now we have our main module, parent module, and a child module, customer. Now we'll we'll see how to get the customer component displayed in the application. So for that we need to set up do some works in the routing. So basically we need to configure routing for the app, and our default module for now would be the sales module, and default screen launched will be the customer screen. So let's create that. So here the path is empty, that default route, that's what we are actually setting up the sales for sales module to be loaded. So we'll also share the give the path sales slash sales dot module and the module name. This is a syntax that we should use to get a module loaded from the parent module. So we can see sales slash sales module. So now one more change we need to make is within the sales module routing, we need to specify by default which component to be loaded. So here path customer component mean like default path we need the component to be loaded is customer component. So that's it, this should work, and we'll go and run the application. Before we run the application, I would change the default HTMLs out from the app component. So now I have only router outlet, and we'll get all these be moved out, and our customer component will be displayed over there. And see, so open. So you can see the customer component is the one loaded by default here. So all what we did is to just configure the routing, and we got the customer component loaded. So the routing is one of the main important feature that we cannot have at this time explained completely, but basically the route module.ts file will be having the routes of the application specified. If we are not having any modules, we can have the same route that we have written in sales module to be in this app routing module, and we can have any component within the app can be loaded or routed in that way. Any number of components can be added there, and we can have this components route specified here, and we can have links that would route to that specific component be created in the HTML. So for now we are not delving much into that. Instead we are going ahead with creating um, adding some Bootstrap CSS that we can see we are able to um, consume the Bootstrap appropriately, since in the beginning we have added the Bootstrap CSS libraries to the application. So get Bootstrap. So here we can see so many CSS um, that we can use to design our application. So for now I'm just adding a navbar, and navbar, let's go to the navbar, and Bootstrap is having a couple of navbar styles here. We can pick one which we like. Oops. Let's copy this nav HTML, and we'll see how does it look. And the navbar will be in our main master page. A master page for now is this app component.html, and that is having the router outlet. Router outlet that got added as part of our option. The prompt we have selected routing, so that got added, and this will be the HTML where all our components will be loaded and displayed. So this is like yeah, for the child HTML child components will be loaded over here. So let's take a look at how our navbar looks like. So now you can see we have the navbar added, and we have all the CSS styles. You can see the HTML, I mean input text box CSS on focus, all are Bootstrap CSS, and our default text that is in the customer component. Now we can modify our customer component to have couple of HTMLs that again I'll pick it from um, here. Say for example I'll try to create a form of, see here we can have a form which is having email address and password, and it is actually follows some CSS styles from Bootstrap. Let's take this one and paste it over here, and we'll see how our screen looks like. So now you can see our form is got placed within this. I can do one another thing. Div dot container is a container class. Within that I will define a row, and I can place a 6 column div I am creating, and I am placing these HTMLs over there. We'll see how does it look like. Now this form pretty much looks pretty good, and we can also give a heading and so this is our customer form. We have used Bootstrap CSS and routing, and um, yep, that's all. Thanks for watching.